Hello gamers across the vastness of YouTube, it's Lucas here and I'm back, and welcome to the debut of what I hope to be one of many retro gaming pickup videos I'm going to be doing on the channel. I have a massive retro gaming collection. There's definitely people who have more than me, but yeah, my living room is getting really kind of full of different titles across a smattering of old consoles. I thought it'd be really cool to kind of take a selection of them each week and maybe kind of show them off to you guys. Hopefully inspire you to maybe dig them out of your collection if you've never played them, or maybe to purchase them as well with some recommendations. Some of the games here have a very personal connection with me, some I've never played, so I'll probably be glossing over some of them. But if you have played some of the ones I haven't, then please let me know in the comments section, and then I might kind of showcase them on the channel then and do videos on them, because I'm kind of doing more quick play videos as well, so it'd be interesting to see if there's any videos which would be kind of I guess up to the standards of kind of like, you know, just a quick blast or anything. Before I start though, I want to answer a frequently asked question. I'm always being asked, Lucas, who did your intro? It looks absolutely fantastic, of high quality. Where did it come from? Well, I didn't design it myself. I'm not an artist, but this person did. Her name is Ellie. She works for Teen Innovations, and I'm going to put her details in this video description. She's a graphics designer. She does overlays, inlays for Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, TikTok, whatever you need. Ellie is your girl. She's a highly experienced graphics designer, and she will advertise as well and help get more awareness to your channel by spreading the word. So I wanted to kind of talk about her for a little bit, if that's okay, and just kind of freestyle it, because she's absolutely wonderful. So I found her on Twitter. I needed an intro and I needed a banner for my channel, Swagger Blonde. So she helped me design my banner, and then I said, look, I need an animated video, and she said, what are you looking for? And I said, well, I've always had this kind of idea in my head, because Swagger Blonde, I kind of just, it sounded right to me, but what would that represent? And I thought, well, it'd be great to have like a woman just swaggering, looking very glamorous, holding a joypad with zombies kind of around her, and kind of like the background being very busy. I presented that to her, I gave her a shopping list of what I wanted, and Ellie went away, and within 2 months I have the intro and outro that you now see. She works very hard, she's very dedicated, very loyal, very easy to work with, and what's great about Ellie is she will update you, so she will obviously keep you up to speed with the progress of the video. If you need to change anything, she will do it in an instant like that. You know, she won't just give you a substandard product, and the best thing is she uses PayPal, and she'll ask for, I think, half the payment, but the other half you don't pay it until you're satisfied with the product. So she will keep working with you until you can both shape the product in a way that you like. She's also got some really cool ideas of her own as well to bring to the table. So as well as that, as I said, over the past few months she's helped advertise my channel. I'm not a massive channel, but I've got far more awareness now than I ever had, thanks to her work, and she's definitely somebody I wouldn't hesitate to recommend, and I wouldn't hesitate to work with again. So Ellie, hands on heart, thank you so much for your hard work and dedication. This is for you. I'm plugging this for you. So guys, whatever you need, Ellie is your girl. Check her out now, hit her up right now, message her, let her know what you want, and she will fulfill your needs. So thank you so much, Ellie, once again. So yeah, Ellie, check her out, guys. Alright, so let's get this video underway. We have a smattering of different games here. I'm just going to kind of freestyle it and see how we go. First up, we have Castlevania on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now this needs no introduction. You play as a member of the Belmont family, a little bit like the Van Helsing's family, and they're tasked with tracking down Dracula every 100 years, basically killing him. You go through several stages of this castle where you take on a lot of monsters from the Hammer horror universe. You get mummies, Medusas. You even get to fight Death himself, for Christ's sake. Frankenstein's monster, hunchbacks. Yeah, this game's amazing. It's one of those games though, it's very difficult. It's always 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. You'll always be pushed back, but you will always make it a little bit further each time as well. It's one of those ones you have to persevere with. I've never been able to beat it myself, but I will say my proudest achievement on the game is I was able to beat Death. I think it was after my 3rd try. Death is supposed to be one of the hardest bosses on there, but I just walloped him and I had no experience with it whatsoever, and I just kind of beat him after my 3rd try, so that was something I'm really proud of. But yeah, Castlevania, let me know what you think of it too. It's an absolute classic. Okay, we have Donkey Kong Country 3 on the Super Nintendo. As you guys know, Donkey Kong Country series means so much to me. It's basically my childhood. We rented the first one from Brian's Video back in the day, back when you could go to video shops, and I thought it was pretty good. And eventually I got Donkey Kong Land, and then I was kicking myself because Donkey Kong Land had come out, and it's an okay game, but there was Donkey Kong Land 2 for the Game Boy, which just blew the first one out of the water and was very much like Donkey Kong Country 2 on the SNES, like a cut down version, and I really wanted Donkey Kong Country 2, but that was 50 quid, and my birthday was months away, and I would always scour magazines, you know, trying to find like a decent price. I don't know why, because I wouldn't have been able to afford it anyway. But anyway, my birthday rolled around about 7 months later, and I had the choice of Donkey Kong Country 2 or Donkey Kong Country 3. And 3 was new, so I got 3, and you know what? 3 is an absolutely fantastic game. 2 is brilliant, but 3, I know a lot of people don't really like 3 that much because of Kiddy Kong, and it's kind of got a different feeling style, but it's definitely worth playing. It's got some RPG elements in. It's very Donkey Kong Country, but at the same time you have the freedom to kind of explore your surroundings. You can go to the Northern Hemisphere and visit different characters, so there's a little RPG kind of element in it as well. Funky Kong's back, you got Wrinkly Kong. It's definitely highly recommended. I think one memory I do remember is when I was a kid, I had a cup of tea and I was playing it. It's like Saturday night, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I had the volume down on my SNES, and like I was visiting one of the characters in the game, and he says, "I'm open 24 hours, you know," and I was like, this is so cool. I'm playing this at 1 o'clock at night, and the game actually acknowledges that, like, you know, I just thought it was such a nice little reference, you know. So yeah, Donkey Kong Country 3, definitely a fantastic SNES game. I think it was one of the last as well, because the Nintendo 64 was out at the time, hence the reason why Wrinkly's playing it in the game. So yeah, DK Country 3. Alright, next up we have Ryan Giggs, Champions World Class Soccer, endorsed by Mr. Giggs himself. I've never played this. I'd like to know whether it's any good, so let me know in the comment section. I might just switch it on for a little bit of a quick play video, so I might be interested. So Ryan Giggs was obviously one of the best players for Man United back in the day. I mean, I'm not a massive football fan at all, but you couldn't escape from the Man United craze. He was one of the best all-round players, and I think when Man United had what I called the dream team, Peter Schmeichel, Eric Cantona, you know, my brother was really into Man United and like would collect all the merchandise and things and watch all the football games, and you know, it's kind of hard not to get swept into it, you know. So I did play a lot of soccer games on the Super Nintendo, so that's one. Again, let me know if you played it, because I definitely want to check it out one of these days. Next up we have Desert Fighter on the SNES. I played this a little bit. It's really, really good. I guess it was kind of capitalising on the Gulf War back in the day. So you play as a jet and you basically just blow the bejesus out of everything and anyone standing in your way across a variety of different levels. Definitely a lot of carnage there. And that was done by Master 3 as well. Very, very cool, I think. So if you want some shoot 'em up action, I highly recommend this one. It's really, really good. Very obscure as well. I don't know if too many people know about this one, but yeah, check it out. Alright, now we have the creme de la creme. Lamborghini American Challenge on the Super Nintendo. Now, I talk about this game all the time whenever I mention the Super Nintendo. This is like illegal street racing. You get the choice of playing as one of 3 characters in 3 Lamborghinis. You get to race across the United States. Now, what's cool is you earn cash as you win races, and you must come first, I believe, because anything less than that, you will lose money, and it costs money to enter races as well. So the whole thing's like a massive gamble. And you can even kind of bet against the other drivers as well in the races and earn extra cash. You can upgrade your vehicles, you can drive across the land, escaping from the police, upgrading your vehicle, buying new tyres and engines. It's got a password system as well. I played this a lot when I was a kid at my friend Lenny's house. I just go around to his house all the time because he had a Super Nintendo and I didn't. So it was thanks to him I was able to experience the Super Nintendo. So it was like a dream to me because we had the NES at home, and then to go to his house, not that the NES was bad, but you know what I mean, like the Super Nintendo was a step up from that. And so I just go around and we play Mario World, Lamborghini American Challenge all the time, and we have 2-player races and single races. So yeah, it's very, very cool, and don't let the fact that Titus made it put you off. This is a quality title. Alright, so let's see what else we've got here. We have Super Mario Bros. 2 for the NES. So this one is very special to me because we got the Nintendo Entertainment System, and a few years later, it must have been like 92 or something, possibly, my dad came home with Mario Bros. 2, and you got to remember that cartridges were so expensive back in the day. It wasn't like you could just, like nowadays, you could probably get them quite cheap. You know, some of them anyway. But yeah, you're looking at like, I think 35 to 40 quid for a cartridge, and like a lot of families, working families, couldn't afford it. You know, we certainly couldn't. But anyway, my dad came home with Mario Bros. 2, and we had the Mario Bros. Duck Hunt combo pack, which was cool. But this one was just so different. It was probably one of the best Mario games I've ever played because it's not your typical Mario game, not kind of the traditional one that we know. And this was back in the days when developers didn't really have like a firm foundation of what their game wanted to be. So they'd have like, I don't know, you'd have The Legend of Zelda, then you have Legend of Zelda 2, which was kind of slightly different. It's the same with Mario 1 and Mario 2. Mario 2 is basically you play as Mario, Luigi, Toad and the princess across the world of Subcom, which is like a dream world, and you have to work your way through to save the little Subconians, I guess, from the evil warts. The graphics are more colourful, the music is catchy. It changes a lot about the Mario formula, but keeps in a little bit, you know, just to remind you that it is Mario. I mean, we all know the story that Mario 2, this Mario 2 anyway, is essentially a game called Doki Doki Panic, and they just reskinned it for Western audiences because they felt that the true sequel, The Lost Levels, would be too difficult. But yeah, Mario Bros. 2 is fantastic. I've lots of memories of this playing as a kid. I was always able to complete it with warps, and I have done warpless runs of this game as well. But yeah, check it out if you haven't done so already. Mario 2 is awesome. Alright, let's see what else we got. We have Tomb Raider 3 for the PlayStation 1. This one is a mixed bag for me. Now, when I was young, I never needed anyone. Those days are gone. No, when I was young, I was like 15 or 16. I got some Christmas money, and I remember I was with my brothers. We were up the town centre, and I remember my little brother saying to me, even though he had 50 quid and he could have bought, he's like, "Oh, you can buy Zelda." Now his idea was that I buy Zelda so that he'll have access to it, and that, which, you know, I kind of admire his thinking really, but I was like, nah, I don't really want Zelda. I would have, but I wanted Tomb Raider 3. So I got Tomb Raider 3 and I took it home, and my god, I think I must have spent like an hour or so just trying to get through the first level. I remember having a headache. And just like, it's very, very kind of hard having coming off Tomb Raider 2. So Tomb Raider 3, it's one of those games I want to like. There's lots of great things about it. You know, and it's not that it's a bad game, it's just that it trips you up every 5 minutes. So you start off in India, and you know, like the first Tomb Raider is very balanced, and Tomb Raider 2 is also like, well, you've played the first one, so we'll make it a bit more challenging. Tomb Raider 3 is like, well, we're just going to change everything that you know about the game and just kill you off, you know, as quickly as possible. But I just couldn't get on with it. I have completed it. It's a game I have played all the way through on the channel, so check out the videos. I think they're like probably one of the first. It's one of the first playthroughs I did for the channel. But yeah, you play as Lara Croft, and essentially you're looking for something called the Infada Stone in India. So you start off there. You'll do like 3 or 4 very, very tough levels. And then you can choose where you want to go. That's the kind of gimmick. You can go to London, Nevada, or you can go to the South Pacific. And you're looking for, obviously, these artifacts, which kind of link to the first one. But yeah, it's a mixed one for me. Tomb Raider 3 is a game that you have to know what you're going into before you play it. Basically, the PlayStation 1 version, as I said, you get save crystals, but you kind of collect them and you can use them where you want to. That was kind of one of the selling points, but also the fact that there was more vehicles as well. Now, the vehicles I've just never got on with in the game. There's one level called Lud's Gate, which really drives me absolutely nuts. But having said that, with all the faults this game has, there's still something really, really cool and redeeming about it when you complete a very tough level. It's very, very bizarre. It still went on to be, like, obviously the 3rd best-selling Tomb Raider game on the system. But I would say, with all its innovations, yeah, don't be fooled. This one's very, very difficult. But if you like Lara Croft, then I would highly recommend giving it a go, but get yourself a walkthrough because you're going to need it. So yeah, Christmas time wasn't exactly a fun time, and I was thinking maybe I should have got The Legend of Zelda, but you know what, it's all good. Right, what do we have next? We have a game I've never played, but I purchased it about a year ago, The X-Files on the PlayStation 1. So, this is a point-and-click game. I believe it was on the PC. So, as FBI field agent Craig Wilmore assists special agents Fox Mulder and Dana Scully in their latest investigation into paranormal activity. Follow the trail of clues, examine evidence at crime scenes, and make critical decisions to stay ahead of a major conspiracy. Trust no one. So, you've got the actual voices and clips as well, I think specially filmed for the game. It was directed by Chris Carter as well. So it's basically like actually starring in an episode yourself. And looking inside, look at that, we even got the booklet and we've got all the discs as well. There's like 2 or 3 discs in here. So it's definitely one I'm going to be checking out, I think. Although I think I might get a mouse. It's very sort of difficult to kind of navigate the menus. But yeah, X-Files, check it out. I've played a little bit of it and it's pretty cool. Very slow though, you know, so you've got to be patient with it. But yeah, I love the X-Files, and who doesn't love the X-Files? Alright, what else we got? We got Gran Turismo, the real driving simulator. This one needs no introduction either. This is one of the best racing games ever made. The cars all look absolutely fantastic. Not only does it redefine the concept of the PlayStation racing games, but Gran Turismo sets a new standard of excellence for all other platforms to follow. 10 out of 10 from Edge magazine, so you get a split screen mode. So yeah, this was done basically using, I believe it was a PlayStation 1 kit. Now the development team who made Gran Turismo had one of these kits, so they were able to utilise the full power of the PlayStation 1. That's why their models look so realistic. So everything you see is literally down to every single detail. So you're actually almost driving the real cars as well. You've got the real handling, the real speed. I think this is the one with the licensing. thing where you have to kind of get licensed to race, and I think that kind of upset a lot of people. But you have a rocking soundtrack as well. You've got replays. It uses the DualShock. It's a very, very high quality advanced PlayStation game. You guys have probably played it before, but yeah, Gran Turismo is absolutely awesome. I could never really get very far, but I really love this one, so give it a try. And it's also spawned a lot of sequels as well, some of which I own on the PlayStation 2. Okay, what else have we got? We've got Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. So yeah, who doesn't love a little bit of Harry Potter? This was from EA Games. This is the first game on the PlayStation 1. So you play as Harry, Hermione and Ron, I believe. And you can kind of get involved in all the antics that are happening at Hogwarts. I've never played this one. I've played the later games on PlayStation 2, so this is one I might dig out though. And give it a little bit of a go on the channel. See if I can get very far. But yeah. At the time, there's no escaping from Harry Potter. It's literally everywhere. Even now, you know, Harry Potter is just like everybody just goes nuts for it. But yeah, the first game, I'd really, really love to know if it's any good. But I should imagine it's a little bit more basic than the later ones that were kind of released. But yeah, still pretty cool. Alright, we have, what else? We got Kickle Cubicle for the NES. This one's really, really a lot of fun. It's a puzzle game essentially. Where you go from different realms, and it's the old Rescue a Princess type thing. So basically you have to kind of destroy a bunch of enemies, get through. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Bomberman. You've got all these cutesy little characters. It's like Bomberman crossed with Kirby in that respect. You have to kind of satisfy a number of different requirements on each level, and as you progress you kind of I think you gain like a few more powers. There's also a password system as well. There's bosses to fight. There's tons of levels. It's highly addictive. This one will keep you busy for hours, I think. So there's even like a little thing, if you can see it, there's like a tree which kind of reminds me of Wispy Woods from Kirby as well. So yeah, definitely very, very Kirby inspired. Next up we have, let's see, we have Little Nemo Dream Master on the Nintendo Entertainment System. Now people talk about how great this game is, and I'll be honest with you, it's not really one of my favourites. I mean, graphically it's amazing, but I just can't seem to get very far in this one. I find it very difficult. Maybe it's one I kind of need to kind of dig in and give it another go, but yeah, I just keep getting stuck on this one for whatever reason. It's a hard old school game. I can see why it deserves all the praise it gets. It's got like an invisible story. This kid goes into a dream world and then he has to rescue a princess once again, and he goes on this massive adventure, and it's kind of like introduced animal buddies as well. I do know there's a lot of platforming in it. You have to kind of like solve puzzles in order to access new areas and things, but yeah, it's okay, but I couldn't really get on with this one. Alright, next up we have Final Doom. That's upside down. I don't have a cover for it at the moment, but yeah, I got this very, very cheap off eBay. Final Doom is basically for people who like Doom but want it a little bit more hardcore. So this is one game which will kind of change your perspective of Doom. So essentially you're getting more levels, but also the game is much harder. This is not your average Doom. I played the first few levels and it's like you'll clear the map of enemies, more will appear sometimes. So it's like Doom, but it's a step up. It's extremely difficult. You've got a nice mixture of different enemies to kind of try and kind of thwart you. So if you play Doom 1 and Doom 2 and you want a challenge, give Final Doom a go, because you'll certainly get a run for your money. Alright, next up we have Super Mario Bros. 3 for the NES. This one is just probably one of the best NES games out there. Mario 3 was really, really big back in the day. I mean, I missed the hype completely. Not that I'm not a huge Mario fan, but we had Mario 1 and Mario 2. Basically, we started to acquire more NES games at that point when I was a kid, because I remember, I don't know who came home with it, but suddenly we had a game called Tecmo Wrestling, which is a really, really cool wrestling game. And we had I think we had an NES Max pad as well. Like my parents came home with that, and we started acquiring more games. And obviously, with my paper round, I started to buy more games like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So we had like a little selection of games, and then Mario 3 I brought. I remember. I think it was me who brought it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I brought it for £5. You know, so it must have been like after all the hype, like a few years after the hype had died down, maybe. Because I think the NES was about to sort of die out. But anyway, I got it home, played it to death. I would always use the Game Genie and things, and I would always kind of mess up with the code and things and make Mario do things he wasn't supposed to. But yeah, Mario 3 is fantastic. It's a lot of people say, oh, Mario 3 is better than Super Mario World. There's this kind of comparisons, but to me, Mario Bros. 3 is a really, really challenging Mario game. It introduced the Doom ships, the Koopa Kids, more secrets than you can throw a stick at, warp whistles, warp zones. It's got everything that you could possibly want from a Mario game and more. It's definitely a satisfying challenge. This is one I've done on the channel as well, so check out the video of that. It's in my Sofa Swagger series. I believe it was one of the first ones I actually did. I did it with a camera, and I didn't do like every single sort of world. I did like I think like the first 1 to 6 worlds or something, and I used the warp whistle, but I was able to show off most of the game. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Obviously, I can't think of anybody who's not played this, but yeah, Mario 3, highly recommended. Dig it out of your collection, play it once again because it's awesome. Okay, now we have Tekken 4 for the PlayStation 2. I've done this on the channel already, so check that out. That's also in Sofa Swagger. And what can I say? It's Tekken. It absolutely builds up on the fundamentals that the previous games did. I've been coming off playing Tekken 3 and then switching to this would definitely have been awesome back in the day. I did play the first 3 Tekkens, but then I don't know if I got any Tekken when I got the PlayStation 2. I think I was more into like Silent Hill 2 and Metal Gear Solid 2 and 3 and things. So yeah, the kind of Tekken series passed me by, but more recently I picked them up from my local CEX shop. So this one's really, really cool. We got some newcomers, Steve Fox and Christy Montero. Plus it's got veteran fighters Martial Law, Paul Phoenix and Kazuya Mishima. And the winner will inherit Heihachi Mishima's entire empire as well if you beat the game. I think they've also got like a few different little sub games in there as well you can kind of play. Alternate costumes, secret characters, but yeah, and I got this for only £6. So Tekken 4, guys, check it out if you've not played it. Okay, Driver 2, guys. Enter Tanner the Driver. Now this is a game I really, really like. The only problem is, like, I feel like Reflections and Infogrames were way too ambitious with this one. Now don't get me wrong, it's a cool game. You play as Tanner, you're an undercover driver. You have to kind of go undercover and work for criminal organisations to kind of bring the criminal masterminds down. I really, really enjoy that. That's cool. The cities are very realistic. I mean, looking at the back, we've got Chicago, Havana, Rio and Las Vegas. So these are the actual cities that were filmed and painstakingly put into the game. Now, this isn't a terrible game, but I will say if you're playing this today, you will notice it's very kind of slow. The action slows down and some tasks are very, very hard to accomplish. There's one task where you've got to like hit a number of cars in a time limit, and I couldn't do it because it just seemed impossible because of everything that was going around. You have to get really, really lucky because the game sort of slowed down a little bit. The same when I was chasing vehicles, I just couldn't do it. And as I said, it's not that this was a bad game, but I think it's a product of this time. Back in the day, this is awesome. You know, and even today it's still awesome, but you know, you will notice that kind of delay and things, but the game's innovative. I think there's like 2 discs. I'm going to have to check on that. Yes, indeed, there's 2 discs. You also get the opportunity to get out of your car, which was a big deal at the time. But I do still recommend this because you can make your own chases and things. There's also lots of special games, steal cars. It's kind of like Grand Theft Auto, you know, 3, like a very, very early version. So yeah, Driver 2, check it out. I said it's not bad. It's just nowadays it does tend to slow down a little bit. Resident Evil Director's Cut, guys. This is fantastic. I played this a lot when I was a kid. My younger brother was really into Resident Evil and he would play this relentlessly. He played the first one to death, so much so that eventually we got him a Director's Cut and he was able to kind of get a fresh perspective and play with new characters. And there's also some added scenes, added camera angles. There's even a Resident Evil 2 demo, which I think I still have as well. So basically it's an enhanced release of the #1 terrifying classic, it says on the back. Different costumes. There's new difficulty levels, standard, training and advanced. So I will say that as cool as this is, I would have really liked the Sega Saturn one, because that one's got like the battle mode with the Tyrant. This is cool to have, don't get me wrong, but I always wished that the battle mode was on this one, because I remember seeing like screenshots in CVG magazine and being like, oh, I'm so jealous of Saturn owners back in the day. But yeah, Resident Evil on PlayStation 1, everybody's played it, but if you want some enhancements and stuff, then that's definitely, I think, a really, really good version to get. Of course it has been remade, which is probably much better than this, but it's a classic. I mean, the wooden acting, the camera, it created a kind of an atmosphere and a buzz for itself, and its sequels would obviously go on to sell even more than the first one. So yeah, check out Director's Cut any way that you can, I think. Final Fantasy VII, guys. Like, this is just like probably one of the best RPGs ever made, in my opinion. I'm just speechless whenever I think about it, because I remember seeing it on Games Master a few months before we got it, and I believe my older brother got it for Christmas. Because he would work like a lot of jobs, he just always come home with games, and then he came home with Final Fantasy VII, and my god. And what was cool was, well, I suppose not cool for him, but he would never have any time to play it, and I was just a kid, and so I would just play it myself, and so I remember getting very far. You play as Cloud Strife, and basically you're working with a group called Avalanche who are looking to blow up a reactor. It's right at the beginning, and then you get kind of drawn into this brand new world of random battles, buy-in, weapons, character development. The storyline is absolutely engaging, and I'm very, very tempted to kind of boot it up, I think, and play it right now. There's tons of villages and towns to visit. There's tons of mini games to play, badass bosses to fight. This was a real innovation back in the day, so yeah, if you want something that's going to occupy your time, say you've got a bit of time over Christmas, Final Fantasy VII is the game for you as far as I'm concerned. You can't go wrong. Alright, now for one of the best strategy games ever made. Check it out, guys. We have Command & Conquer for the PlayStation 1. Now, I'm a massive Command & Conquer fan. I always remember, like, I never went to school when I was a kid. I had problems. I had issues with school. But I went to a community centre for like 2 hours a day to kind of do my maths and English and stuff. And there was a guy there, his name was Gordon, and other people. And one day, I mean, he started talking to me. He's like, oh, there's this game that you should play. And I'm like, okay. It's called Command & Conquer. And I'm like, okay, it's a strategy game. I'm like, okay, fine. Oh, but you get to play as two sides, the Nod and the GDI, and you get to fight each other, and it's really cool. And I just wasn't interested, and I'm kicking myself now. I just thought, what is this guy on about? I thought he was crazy at first. I was like, okay, that sounds pretty cool. But then randomly, I didn't even mention this to anyone about my experience. We were good friends. But anyway, I went home, and like a few months later, my brother randomly brought home Command & Conquer on the Sega Saturn, and that was it. My life was just over now. I just wanted to play Command & Conquer. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't want to engage with anyone, I didn't want to go out, and it's, as I said, it's a strategy game where you're set in the future. You can play as the good guys, the GDI, the Global Defense Initiative, or the bad guys, the Brotherhood of Nod, and you fight against the opposing side. You get to build a base as you want it. Defend your base, destroy the other side, top-down strategy at its best as far as I'm concerned. And the PlayStation version came out, and I just picked it up straight away because there's 6 extra levels especially for the PlayStation. There's 15 secret covert missions also. You get a great soundtrack. It's fast and furious action, cheesy cutscenes as well with Kane. So yeah, Command and Conquer, highly recommended. You can probably get it for now on Steam anyway. I do have the PC version, which are very, very easy to pick up. But yeah, if you're looking for a really good strategy game, Command and Conquer is the one for you. Okay, WWF Warzone. So yeah, this was the first PlayStation wrestling game I ever played. And I'm going to say it's absolutely brilliant. I know some people might hate on this, obviously because it was a product of its time. But this was the first game that had photorealistic wrestlers. The action is very, very slow and precise. You have to kind of input your button commands in order to get the wrestlers to perform their moves and things. So this came out during the Attitude Era of wrestling, when obviously Raw is War was taking over the world. So in this game you can play as Steve Austin, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, Kane, Shamrock, Rocky Maivia, Triple H. I know I can't remember his name, but there's a guy in there, what's his name, he does the Pearl River Plunge, Ahmed Johnson, that's it. And it's like there's little cutscenes that pop up. So you'll choose your fighter and you'll go through a series of kind of like different challenges all the way to the top of the WWF Championship, and then along the way you'll have to face grudge matches. And like whenever this one Tony, I can't remember his name now, it's slipped my mind, Ahmed Johnson, forgive me, I'm getting old. Whenever he does a promo, it's hard to understand what he's saying. It's really, really bizarre. But yeah, a lot of the characters, they filmed their own kind of promos for the game. There's a training mode as well. There's a few hidden characters. I mean, it's not obviously SmackDown came and blew it out the water, but you know, WWF Warzone is really, really fun. I think you know, as a casual wrestling fan, I thought it was brilliant because you know, it wasn't kind of as massive as like the next game in the series, which was WWF Attitude, which I got, and I'll be honest with you, I was very disappointed by it. I managed to get my hands on the N64 version of that, and it's just way too big and a little bit dull. But WWF Warzone, there's something special about it. As I said, you can kind of save your progress. You can progress your way up to the top. I mean, there's only two titles, the IC title and the WWF title, but I think it does its job in the day. I think even now it's still a great game. I think it's good for a good 20 minutes or so. Alright, next up we have, there's no case for this one, but we have Grand Theft Auto. I had upside down there. Grand Theft Auto for the PlayStation 1. So yeah, this one needs obviously again no introduction. This was the first Grand Theft Auto game on the PlayStation, and everybody went out to buy this back in the day. It's top down, so obviously it's a far cry from what it would become, but it had all the elements of a classic right away. You work as a criminal, and you have to work your way for different criminal bosses, perform different tasks, kill people, steal cars, run people over, blow stuff up in a city, and just create a lot of mayhem and destruction and avoid the police. Yeah, I had lots of fun with this back in the day. Me and my brother, because he was really, really good at it, he would play this relentlessly, and we'd always laugh at the El Burro bits, you know, the little cheesy kind of cartoon cutscenes that would appear when you do each island. So yeah, it's fantastic. Even now it's still just as playable as it was back in the day. I mean, it's kind of sandboxed, which I think kind of prefers. I like that kind of preferred style. You know, I mean, it's kind of one little area, because I think if a game's too big, you know what I mean? Like, some of the Grand Theft Auto games now are fantastic, but I did find them a little bit too big. You know, it's hard to kind of find my way around, but the first Grand Theft Auto, absolutely awesome.